last week, the prosecution called 5 witnesses to stand across Thursday and Friday.
3 witnesses were called to the stand today.
Attorneys Terry Johnson and Richard Convertino have been with us all day long. They're here to break down the latest from today. Thanks so much for sticking around. So Rick, let's begin with you. What were sort of the standout moments from today's trial?
Well, the redirect on the witness regard the police officer, I think was powerful by the prosecution. I'm sorry, the redirect of the school counselor, Sean Hopkins, I think was incredibly powerful, and it was straightforward and hammered home the points and the theory of the case, the theme of the case, in that what would you have done had you known all of this additional information? And the school counselor said he would have acted notably different, would have taken different precautions and done different things, and he did. And it's the prosecutor's attempt to show that the people that had all the information, or most of the information, that was all of the information, I should say, about the shooter was the parents, and they ignored the consequences that would directly follow from the awareness of facts that they had.
What were your takes? What really struck you today?
I would say the last thing that we saw, which was the video, the first interaction that the parents had with their son after all of this, and the mom's reaction. You know, just she's angry, she's upset, she looks at him and says, why? Dad says, I love you. I think he repeated it as many times as she said why. But the interesting thing is the prosecution's case, as it's unfolding, is showing me more and more that bad parenting, while it's bad, it's just not a crime. And if they want to criminalize someone for that, then I think, you know, Karen McDonald needs to go to Lansing and talk to the legislative body and get them to sign off on bad parenting and do something along those lines.
Come on,
you know,
Terry.
because that's where we are right now in this. You know, we are making these jumps, we're making these leaps. That because she didn't hug her son, because she didn't do this, would I have done something different? Absolutely. But I want to go back to Rick's point from earlier, where he said, you know, in that the redirect of the school official there, the school counselor. I agree, that was very devastating. I think what was more hurtful is that the defense attorney didn't get back up and say, did you ask for this information, knowing what you know, looking at what you saw today, seeing how, you know, you claim the mother acted, and why did you leave him alone? You said he shouldn't be left alone, but you watched him walk alone. What other steps did you take? You know, and my point being, if the professionals who are around him don't see these things, why are we holding the parent, you know, accountable for some other things?
On Terry's theme about bad parenting, I can tell you one of the things we're going to see in spades in this case is evidence of bad parenting in these 2,000 pages of documents that are going to be admitted without redaction. The defense this morning, first thing in the morning, motioned the court to allow all of the evidence without redactions that she fought to include and to keep, that all of those redactions are going to be removed, and all of that information is going to be admitted and given to the jury, the purview of the jury, to come to the conclusions that they think is logical and reasonable. And now, the reason that they were excluded is so the jury wouldn't get a taint or prejudicial view of bad parenting, as Terry points out. And all of the information that's now going to be thrown into the jury box in the exhibit is going to allow the prosecutors to mold the information in a way they see fit, because it is evidence. They can argue from that evidence any way they deem fit. And that jury is going to see evidence of drinking. Maybe some of those text messages has evidence of their affairs that both of the parents had. All of that kind of thing is going to be now admitted, because the defense attorney said that she and the defendant came to the conclusion in the jail Saturday that they look bad by trying to exclude or redact evidence.
Well, thank you both very much for being here and providing your insight
Thanks. Thank
throughout
you.
the day. It's very valuable to have you here to break things down as they happen. So we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And as we know, Jennifer Crumbley is charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter after her son shot and killed 4 students at Oxford High School in November of 2021.
Testimony got intense at certain points today, and for the first time, we also saw video of the shooter and his parents after that awful incident. Lauren Winfrey joins us now from the Oakland County Circuit Court in Pontiac with the latest developments from the hearing today. Lauren?
Terrence and Meredith, it was a shorter day in court today. The judge dismissing the jury a bit early after 3 witnesses took the stand: a law enforcement official, a school counselor, and then also the owner of a horse farm where the Crumbleys boarded their horses. Let's get to some video inside of the courtroom to give you a better idea of how things played out today. So Sean Hopkins, he was the second person to take the stand. He's a counselor at Oxford High School. He continued his testimony after the court's lunch break, and during his testimony, we learned when the shooter first landed on the counselor's radar. It was in September of 2021. He also testified about the shooter's concerning behavior noticed first by teachers in the months and days leading up to the shooting. And although many in the Oxford community allege the school could have done more to help the shooter and prevent the shooting from happening, the prosecution wanted to make clear today the Crumbleys withheld pertinent information from Hopkins specifically about their son's mental health and behavior, information that could have led to urgent intervention. And Hopkins testified about his decision to keep the shooter in school after meeting with him and his parents.
And out of just an abundance of caution, wanted to make sure that the student was able to get help.
Okay, but you communicated that to the defendant?
I did. My first thought was, I don't want him alone. I want to make sure somebody who's experiencing...
Why didn't you want him alone?
Because I don't want a student who may be suicidal alone.
And Kara Pinnock, the owner of that farm where the Crumbleys boarded their horses, well, when she took the stand, she said when she first learned of the shooting, because of previous correspondence she had with Jennifer Crumbley, her first thought was it was Jennifer Crumbley's son responsible for that shooting, and obviously she turned out to be right about that. And it's this kind of testimony that the prosecution is using to really help lead the jury to believe that negligence played a role in how all of this played out. And obviously, court will resume tomorrow, and we will have more later this evening. But for now, reporting live in Pontiac, Lauren Winfrey, CBS News, Detroit.